In this module, you'll learn how to apply constant fillets and use the shell command. To modify solid 3D bodies, we can use tools located in the Modify section of the Solid tab. This menu includes traditional CAD features such as fillet, chamfer, shell, draft, and more. The fillet command lets us round the edges of a solid body by removing material from exterior edges or by adding material to interior edges. Let's activate the fillet tool in the toolbar. We can first define the fillet type. The default of fillet rounds edges based on selected edges, faces, or features. Rule fillet rounds the edges based on rules that determine which edges to include. Use this when applying a large number of fillets. Lastly, full round fillet rounds edges over 3 adjacent faces, resulting in a full round over. I'd like to apply a fillet to the bottom edge of the tea kettle, so I'll leave this set to the default of fillet. To apply a fillet, we'll select the desired edge or face, followed by defining the fillet radius. For example, I'll enter a value of 8 millimeters. Many of the modify features also allow us to drag the directional arrows or other manipulators to define the value. Notice how you can preview the fillet in the canvas. Hold Ctrl on Windows or Command on Mac to modify the selection set after adjusting the fillet radius. While holding the keys, we can continue to select or deselect edges. To apply a different fillet radius, we'll select the Add Selection Set icon in the dialog. This icon lets us add additional edges, faces, or features while applying a radius different from existing radii. I'll type a radius of 30 millimeters for this middle edge. Notice how applying a fillet to this edge helped blend the two sections. I'd also like to apply a 1.5 millimeter fillet to the top edge of the tea kettle. This will ensure it doesn't have any sharp edges. The fillet dialog also allows us to define the radius type. The default constant applies a single radius value along the entire selection. Chord length applies a chord length value along an entire fillet. A chord length is a distance between the two edges where the fillet ends and the adjacent faces begin. Finally, variable fillets apply multiple fillet radius values at points that you can specify along a single edge. The simplistic geometry of our kettle only requires a default constant fillet. Everything looks great, so I'll click OK to add the fillet feature. As of now, the 3D body of the tea kettle is completely filled in. There's currently no room for it to hold water or liquid. We can use the shell command from the Modify menu to hollow out existing 3D bodies. Shell removes material from the interior of a part based on the specified wall thickness. Once active, we can define faces or a single 3D body to shell. Selecting the entire body will hollow out the interior without creating an opening. Note that you can select the body from the browser, which is helpful when working with large assemblies. In contrast, selecting a face will remove the selected face while also hollowing out the interior. We'll be sure to deselect the tangent chain option in the shell dialog. The tangent chain specifies whether to include any faces that are connected tangentially. This also allows us to select individual faces, such as the top of the tea kettle. Once selected, we'll enter the desired thickness of the walls. I'll set this to 3 millimeters. Last, notice you can define the direction of the thickness. This includes the inside, outside, or both directions at the same time. We'll click OK and take a minute to orbit the model. The 3D body is now hollow on the inside and the wall is a thickness of 3 millimeters. Let's also check the inside of our model to view the shell results. In the Inspect dropdown, we'll find the Section Analysis tool. This tool generates a cutaway view of your model based on a selected face or plane. The sides of this tea kettle are not planar, so I'll instead select one of the origin planes. We can then see inside the part while dragging the manipulator. Once we click OK, the Section Analysis tool will remain in the browser. We can turn this on and off by selecting the visibility icon. Throughout the modeling process, you can also turn other features in the browser on and off, such as bodies and sketches. You've now learned how to hollow out the tea kettle base with the shell command and round over the sharp edges with the fillet tool.